Probably the most effective producers of Gnostic movies are the Wachowski brothers. The Wachowski brothers produced movies like Bound, movies like The Matrix trilogy, and just recently V for Vendetta. What most people don't realize is that these movies all have elements of Gnosticism and satanic thought embedded within them. Fueled by anticipation for the Matrix brothers' next movie and glowing reviews, V for Vendetta topped the box office sales with its weekend debut at $26.1 million. Only $1 million less than the debut of the Wachowskis' earlier blockbuster, The Matrix. V for Vendetta, the Wachowski brothers' latest movie, is based upon the graphic novel by the same title written by Alan Moore. Moore is considered the Shakespeare of comic writers. Moore's graphic novels like League of Extraordinary Men, starring Johnny Depp, and others like From Hell and Constantine, or John Constantine, Hellblazer, have all become movies. V for Vendetta teaches the unsuspecting masses some of the same Antichrist doctrines that are found in the Wachowski brothers' other films, Bound and The Matrix. What so much of the general public is unaware of, and so many Christians don't have a clue about, is that so many of these movies are based upon Satanism. In fact, Alan Moore, who wrote the book that these movies are based upon, Alan Moore is actually a practitioner of Satanist Aleister Crowley's black magic. Moore has stated, quote, "I'd known about Crowley ever since I was 12, when I had my spate of reading Dennis Wheatley occult paperbacks and being told that Aleister Crowley was the wickedest man in the world. There are references to Crowley in V for Vendetta. Aleister Crowley, the most highly regarded Satanist of the last 100 years, believed that he was being used by Satan as his, quote, chief of staff, end quote, to prepare the world for the destruction of Christianity and the acceptance of the Antichrist. Moore not only admits to becoming demon-possessed after practicing Crowley's magic, but admits that his objective was to become a more effective writer. V for Vendetta is actually a diabolical propaganda film wherein Aleister Crowley's New World Order run by the Nietzschean Superman is outlined in his satanic manifesto, the Book of the Law. This includes the wholesale slaughter of Christians in a bloodbath that brings an atmosphere conducive to the rise of the beast in fulfillment of what Crowley called the Age of Horus. What you are about to discover is that V for Vendetta is a bold and almost prophetic picture of the Crowleyan ideal for ushering in the Age of Horus in replacement of the Age of Jesus Christ or the Dying God. Aleister Crowley's Satanic Manifesto, the Book of the Law, was based upon the credo for the Satanic New Age called "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Crowley stated, "With my hawk's head I will peck out the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross." In the Book of the Law, Aleister Crowley actually teaches the sacrifice of children. He teaches elsewhere that the best sacrifice is that of an innocent male child. And he also teaches the sacrifice of young virgin girls and the dismemberment of their bodies and writing the names of the demons upon their limbs. In fact, Moore quotes Crowley's satanic maxim, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole law," in V for Vendetta repeatedly throughout the graphic novel. Here on page 217 we see V telling Evie, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." On page 187 of the graphic novel we see V, after committing a string of murders and bringing anarchy, quoting Crowley again, stating, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Here we see V telling Evie that if she wants him to murder somebody for him, that she's just to pick a rose. He says, quote, "To pick a flower is not a large thing. Understand what is being offered here, and do as thou wilt." Aleister Crowley, the Satanist, Satan's chief of staff as he called himself, he had stated that to influence popular culture, that his followers to get in touch with demons, basically sell their souls, and channel these demons to affect the masses. To be sure, it seems clear that Moore was channeling these entities long before he began practicing Crowley's magic, whether he was always conscious of it or not. He also claims to be in touch with a demonic entity that is, quote, highly skilled in mathematics and in the visual arts. Perhaps besides Moore's Gnosticism, his channeling of a demon that specializes in the visual arts also motivated the Wachowskis to adapt his satanic V character to the big screen. Moore claims that he turned to magic because he wanted to open himself up to occult forces that would help him in his writing ability. He stated, quote, "I found that I couldn't progress any further with writing by strict rationality. If I wanted to go further with my writing, make it more intense, more powerful, make it say what I wanted to say, I had to take a step beyond technique and rational ideas about writing. Into something that was trans-rational, if you will, this being magic." The New York Times christened V for Vendetta a blockbuster blowout that, quote, puts vengeance in man over forgiveness in God. And further acknowledged that, quote, objections have been raised about whether V for Vendetta turns a terrorist into a hero, which is precisely what it does. However, the New York Times would have us believe, the glorification of evil notwithstanding, that it was not really subversive. Unlike other mass superheroes like Batman and Robin, V is not out there to uphold law and order and protect innocent people. In fact, V uses the most catastrophic acts of terrorism to blow up buildings and to cause anarchy to bring in his new world order. In fact, he even tells Evie, his sidekick, that blowing up buildings can change the world. In fact, there are a few not so subtle hints in the Wachowski brothers movie V for Vendetta that do show you who V represents, representing, of course, the devil. In fact, there are even more in the graphic novel that make it clear as day that V is a depiction of Satan. Alan Moore, after mentioning Satanist Anton Xander LaVey in an interview, went on to talk about his collaborator who was hanging out with Carla LaVey, Anton LaVey's daughter. Alan Moore states that in Crowley's novel Moonchild and his novel Diary of a Drug Fiend, that Crowley portrays, quote, all the Satanists, end quote, as, quote, the good guys, end quote. This is obviously true in V for Vendetta as well. In fact, Satanists just aren't projected as the good guys, but Satan himself is the ultimate hero. Newsweek says that V is obviously the hero in V for Vendetta. Newsweek stated, the movie grants him absolute moral superiority from beginning to end. Sure, Evie tells him he's a monster, and then tries to make out with his mask. In a movie, when the pretty girl falls in love with you and stays in love with you, you're a hero. Not only does V for Vendetta depict all the Satanists as good guys, but as we shall see, those who are depicted as conservative or Christians are depicted as absolutely evil and must be wiped out. The superhero V is depicted as a heroic figure that has come to save the day from a radical reconstructionist form of Christianity through terrorism and inciting revolution. Another example in which V is portrayed as the devil is that he introduces himself before he commits a murder with the first lines from the Rolling Stones song Sympathy for the Devil. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am a man of wealth and taste. Notice that V is depicted in this caption at the end of his declaration as a devil with horns. V, as in several other places throughout V for Vendetta, reveals his identity as not just a satanic figure, but as Satan himself. Sympathy for the Devil is the first-person narrative in which the words leave no doubt as to who is supposed to be singing. The words are even more chilling when you realize that Keith Richards, who admitted to the Los Angeles Times that he's possessed by as many as 4 or 5 demons, and that the Stones songs are channeled through them and arrive in mass in the same way that a medium channels spirits at a seance. It does not take long to see what kind of spirits the Stones are channeling with songs like Sympathy for the Devil and albums like their Satanic Majesty's Request.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moments of doubt and pain. Made damn sure the pilot washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game.
Both the Stones and Alan Moore, who wrote V for Vendetta, have more than Sympathy for the Devil in common, as both have been influenced by Satanist Aleister Crowley and have sought to bring about his satanic revolution. Keith Richards has admitted that Kenneth Anger, who is one of Crowley's most devoted and famous revolutionaries, stated that Richards is his right-hand man. Kenneth Anger, who co-founded the Church of Satan, worked under Satanic Majesty's Request with the Rolling Stones, and Mick Jagger did the score music for Kenneth Anger's Lucifer Rising and appeared in Anger's tribute to Aleister Crowley, Invocation, My Demon Brother. These are films that came out decades before V for Vendetta that were already promoting Crowley's Satanism. At one point in the graphic